PJNet.TV Part 2. It's 9:30 on the East Coast of the United States, and it is time for J.D. Wininger, who is standing by. In our green room, let's run down the checklist. We do have a bumper running. We are recording. We are streaming on all platforms. We are ready to switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to PJNet.TV. We are about to go, as we always do at about this time on Thursday night. Folks, we are going to take a trip around the Cross W. And the Cross W is J.D. Wininger's ranch, and his brand is his brand. I bet if those cows saw some of that stuff going on behind me, they'd get more excited about getting branded. But anyway, if you are watching this on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, or at the PJNet.TV live chat room, a special welcome to you. You might be watching this recorded at a later time, and we sure are glad you've taken some of your time to share with us here. We invite you to come join us live at PJNet.TV. When you get to our chat room, you'll want to come back again and again and again and again. Folks, it's time to bring on the man himself, the legend, the curator of the Cross W, J.D. And good to see you, J.D. You've had a long day, you told me.
Hey, Coach. Yes, sir. It's been a long one, you know. Some days you're the windshield and some days you're the bug. Today it was bug effing, man.
I think most of your days are kind of long, aren't they, J.D.?
Yes, sir. They start normally around 4 a.m. or so and go till about 10.
I mean, you get a nap in between, I bet, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
You and I we kind of keep similar hours. And I can do this, but if I don't get that little nap in the afternoon, it gets tough. But
fact, yes, sir.
Well,
in fact, I snuck one in about 45 minutes ago, Coach.
Well, I wound up going to a darn baseball game, high school baseball game this afternoon. I don't even care for baseball, but my wife's... Anyway, it was one of those honeydew things, you know. I'm glad to do it.
Yes, sir, it's what we do.
And I said, we got to go. It's time to go. So, because anyway. JD, your blog this week was a little bit different. Instead of you taking us for a tour around the Cross W, you were taking a couple of friends for a tour around the Cross W.
Yes, sir. Sure was this past week. Had just a wonderful time. What started out as a request said, you know, we're coming through Northeast Texas, JD, and reckon we might stop and visit you at the ranch and meet your wife and things and just spend a few hours. And I thought, well, my goodness, you know, that's a long way to drive, just spend a few hours. Why don't you just plan to spend the night, and then you can head on down to San Antonio the next day. Now, silly me, I thought they were flying into DFW, and then you got to drive 2 hours from the airport out to the Cross W, and then you got another 6 or 7 hour drive down to San Antonio. Well, that's a long haul in a day. So I said, just come play and spend the night. You know, we'll just throw out the welcome mat and we'll throw a bean on the grill and we'll do something, you know.
Yeah, pour another gallon of water in the soup. Yeah.
That's right. We'll make it work. And so her and her husband, Guy and Connie Wolford, Miss Connie writes Christian children's books, and just the sweetest little grandmotherly lady you'd ever want to meet in your life, you know. I was thinking about her last night as I was listening to Michelle read and narrate the little book, and I just pictured my friend reading her different children's books to the children in the library and at Sunday school and things. And what a blessing that is to share Christ with young people. But getting a chance to meet my friend outside of a busy writers conference and people going and chasing and getting to know each other's spouses and things. It was just a wonderful time of fellowship and friendship, and just tickled me pink to see her out there with the donkey that I named after one of the characters in one of her latest children's books. and she got to feed that. She made friends with Magic the donkey, and got a kick rubbing elbows with 2,200-pound Maverick, the Red Angus bull, and her husband was feeding Wheezy, or Aunt Louise, the my Solier champion cow, and just to see them interact and spend time. She made a comment in my blog today, Coach. Said we've been down here in San Antonio about a week, and we're celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary. My friend Miss Connie said she turned to her husband, Guy, and asked him, said, "What's been the favorite part of your trip so far?" He said, "Spending time with JD and his wife." Daggone, boy, I tell you, that made me feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof, Coach. That's very kind. Yeah.
It,
But
yeah, I think we need to do, for you, it's the routine and the work and all that, but for them, it's an
yes,
experience, and it's a chance to kind of decompress and get into a different
oh, sure,
zone.
yes, sir. They live in a big, fine log cabin nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains up
Oh
in
gosh.
southeast Virginia, and just a wonderful laid back lifestyle. But it's very different from living out here on a ranch in Texas. So they got to experience some of that, and I promised them that when wife and I were able to, we'd have to come out and experience their lifestyle a little bit out there in Virginia. So that'll be
What
good.
a sacrifice that would be for you to have to do that.
Oh, terrible! Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just terrible to take a week long break in the mountains somewhere. That'd be tough duty, Coach. But I got to tell you, they surprised me because we were going around what I call a 50-cent tour. We had darn buck boots on and making sure they knew what to step in, where not to step, and things, and feeding hay to the cattle and treats to the donkeys, and just having a grand time. And we were talking about the fruit trees and the gardens and the herb gardens and the pecan trees and things. And then Guy, being the man he is, hey, let's go look at the workshop, Jim, or JD, and off we go. And he spies my wood lathes, and I told him I used to do a lot more wood turning than I've done since I became a rancher. Just haven't had the time to do much of it, but some bowls and different things. And he spied my stash of wood, and have a lot of natural woods and harvested things from fallen trees and things. And I got such a kick because he and his wife just kind of looked at one another and smirked, and I had no idea. But I said, "Well, I said something stupid again." And later that evening, after dinner, Miss Connie got up and she said, "If you'll excuse me, but we've got something for y'all." And she runs off to the guest room, comes back with a big old bag, and she says, "Months and months ago, when we first learned that we were going to come out and visit y'all, said I was selling books at a farmer's market or something like that." And she said, "I ran into this fella who said he'd lost his entire stand of pecan trees to an ice storm. And so all the trees had broken and fallen over and things. And he just, oh, just such a loss, because he loved his trees and things. But he was also a woodworker, and he said, so let me do something with those trees." And one of the things that he did, Coach, was this beautiful hand turned spalted pecan bowl that she purchased, and her and Mr. Guy shared for us. But I just love the spalted wood. You can see all the kind of veins that run through it and things. It's kind of a marble like veining of wood. Now, do you know what spalting is, Coach?
No, sir, I don't. But you don't know what a pecan is either, because you keep calling them pecans.
Well, sir, we've had this discussion in the past, and we'll do it again here. This is a pecan, Coach. Okay. This is a pecan, Coach. There's a difference. Here in Texas, I know I live next to Pecan Gap, Texas. So
Well, they also call it Cooper.
yes, that's a fact. But anyway, spalting is An imperfection is caused by a fungus. Typically, when a tree lays on the ground
Hmm.
and it's dying, then it will be invaded by fungus, and that's what creates the beautiful striations and things in that. It's actually a fungus in the heart of the tree, Coach. So that's what creates spalted wood. And this was just an exquisite example of it. Just a beautiful thing, and we're just going to cherish this for years and years. But later that evening, kind of thinking about it as I'm decompressing from my day, I thought, how in the world did they know that the perfect gift for a wood turner would be a wood bowl that somebody had turned, and in it you can feel the tool marks and things. So it's a lot like me. It's not perfect in a lot of ways, but it's just a beautiful example. And I thought about that, and the only answer I come up with, Coach, is that's just one of them Jesus things, as we call it here in Texas. uh, we've all had occasions where great things happen to us. We catch all the traffic lights on the way to a meeting, and we're running 5 minutes late. So, we just get here because we just cut all the traffic lights right. Or if some of you do welcomes at your church or something like that, isn't it funny how often those will dovetail perfectly into what the sermon's about that day? And you think, well, that's just coincidence or happenstance. I have come to believe, Coach, that is more divine intervention, or what we call here in Texas a Jesus thing.
Jesus thing.
And
Yeah.
it just, yes, sir. And he's always present in our lives. And I thought, now, how did he plant the thought that, oh, I bet old JD and Miss Diane would just love a spalted pecan wood hand turned bowl. Yeah. Now, where did that come from? If not from Christ, because she didn't know I was a wood turner. Guy didn't know that I had lathes and I had pecan wood harvested and curing and all these things. So, where but Jesus can something like that come from? And I've come to the conclusion that the reason he does that, Coach, is it's some people call them God stances. Another person called them God winks. It's his way of saying, "Hey, partner, I'm out here. I got you. I've never left you. I'm still here. Just because we're not talking and we're not walking hand in hand right this second. I'm still there with you." And those are just wonderful moments in time, and I just wanted to celebrate those this week, Coach, in my blog. So that's why my blog is entitled Jesus Things. We need to look for more of those, don't we, sir?
They're all over. Now, there's a lot of sermons in here, but before I get into any of those sermons, Terry Palmer has something for you in our chat room. He says, "Tell JD, up here in ice country, we use that pecan." He spells that Peacan, so it is phonetically correct. For an entirely different purpose, makes for a good story for another setting.
Yes, sir. We'll have to follow up with Mr. Cherry on that one.
The thing that impressed me, I've worked in disaster relief, so fallen trees, or and chainsaws and all that. The thing that impressed me is from this devastation, from this destruction, came something beautiful, and the fact is, it was there all
Amen.
along. It was there all along,
Yes, sir.
JD. Tell you a little something about pecan wood when a chainsaw. You might already know this because you've got a stock of it. Pecan wood is hard on chainsaws. It really
Yes,
is.
sir.
And the thing about the smaller limbs, that you trim first, those things are like whips. When that chain hits them and that thing whips, and it'll slap you right in the face. And if you're not wearing your eye protection and a helmet, you will soon be reminded that you're supposed to, because
Yes,
they'll
sir.
slap the.
Worse than any switch mamma could ever yield. I
Yeah,
agree.
they're
They'll get you. Yes, sir.
yeah, they are like whips, and they sting. But pecan wood does not make very good firewood. It's a very hard
No,
wood.
sir, but it showed us smoke a nice brisket. I got to tell you.
Well, it does. But when you try to use it for firewood, it can be used, and people do use it, but it tends to pop and snap and crackle,
Hmm.
and in some of these modern fancy little tiny fireplaces, if you get a little pop in the
Yes, sir.
fireplace, you done lit the whole carpet up in front of it because they ain't but about 3 feet deep to begin with. I remember the days when a fireplace you couldn't reach the back of it. If you had to clean it out, you had to crawl in the thing just about. And there was a
Yes,
big,
sir.
you'd sit down in front of that thing, and it'd be darn, you'd have to rotate and turn, and people actually used it as one of the primary heat sources for their homes. And
Well, we never had that, but I had them big old potbelly stoves. I can remember
hmm
those for heat at
hmm
night. Yes, sir.
yeah, another wood that's not good for firewood is, believe it or not, pine, for a whole
Yeah,
different
you
reason.
got that right.
Because
Yes, sir.
pine will create a film of creosote in your chimney.
Hmm.
And if that stuff gets hot enough, it'll go boom.
Yes,
And the
sir. It
back blast
does.
of that will take all the coals in the fireplace and put them in your living room, and you'll have a fire
Yes,
on
sir.
your
It's
hands here in no
amazing the
time.
number of house fires that come from creosote buildup in the chimney.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, that stuff gets hot, and it will reach a point of spontaneous combustion, and it does that. So, but that particular piece that's carved, what did he? Is that just a polyurethane? Because it's got a real. It looks like it hadn't been stained, but it's
No,
got a
sir.
dark.
Uh, well, when you make something, when you turn a bowl, coach, and you want to use it as a food safe container, they make some chemical coatings that you can use. But I've always been partial using peanut oil.
hmm
So this one, I believe, is finished with peanut oil, Coach,
So
because
it's got
this
a
year's got the right smell and texture to it,
well.
and it's something you'll take a rag. Of course, you don't use them a lot. This is not something I'd put a salad in or anything. I'd put wrapped candies and
Yeah,
things in this because it's just too beautiful to use every day.
well, you put
But
pecans in it.
oh, well, yes, sir, it could. I sure could. I get about 7 or 8 gallons of them a year. So, yes, sir, it's
Really?
possible. But
It's
yes,
big
sir, it
business
sure
here. We
do.
have pecan warehouses, and as a teenager,
Hmm.
we used to go out to the country club where there's a lot of, pecan trees grow, and we just pick up pecans. We could make ourselves a little money. We'd have a croaker
Well,
sack.
there's
Where do you get croaker
yes,
sacks
sir.
now? Still get them?
Yes, sir. That's a Kroger. Y'all don't have those in Tallahassee no more, do you? We got one over in Paris.
Okay, because croaker sacks are
IGA
good.
Kroger. Yes, sir.
What? No, croaker sack. The sack. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Croaker
We
sack.
always call them Kroger sacks.
Uh huh. Okay, well maybe I've been mispronouncing. But
Okay.
anyway,
Anyway.
they're very useful. They're very useful. You just don't see them much anymore.
Yes, sir.
Um, all right, so you've been busy as a one-armed man in a paper hanging contest.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to slow down a little bit now, maybe?
Well, I thought I was, Coach. I thought I was going to get a few weeks at home and just a chance to relax and get another book proposal I've been working on and getting some things done. And then I got a call, and the other Burlington has called and said, Jim, we need you back up in Burlington, but in Iowa this time,
Yeah.
to work on a program for C4 explosives. I
I know
said,
what
okay.
C4 is.
So
Yep.
so I'm heading up to Burlington, Iowa on Sunday, and I'll be there until next Saturday. So next Thursday night we'll do from the Hampton Inn in downtown Burlington, Iowa, Coach.
Is C4 still, is that used in claymores?
Well, they can use it in lots of ways, sure.
It'll
I
blow up.
can't tell you how it's being used in this particular program,
Mm,
but yes, sir, plastic explosives is still a big commodity to the U.S. military.
yeah, yeah, and You can actually do shape charges, and there's all kind of. It's a craft, you know. It's not just a matter of blowing stuff up. You got to blow up what you want to blow up, but not blow up everything with it. You know, you got to.
Very true, yes, sir.
And when something blows up, you know, its nature is not to be very discriminatory. It just blows up and expands in all directions. But you can actually,
yes, sir.
Use shape charges to shoot holes in things with C4 and things like that. But that's not classified because I know it. If it were classified, I wouldn't know.
No, sir, that's not classified.
All right, so you're gonna be on the road next.
Pretty popular.
Next week.
Next week on the road again, yes, sir.
And who's going to be taking care of the cattle?
Well, great news, my friend Michael. I think he may still be in the chat room, but Michael just got cleared yesterday for light duty, so my ranch foreman is back. I'm excited about that. I've had wonderful friends and brothers from church taking care of things for me, and they've done a great job and calving and everything else. But it's good to get my regular guy back working every day for me. So I'm excited to have Michael back in the saddle, so to speak. So he'll be taking care of things here at the ranch for me and keeping an eye on Miss Diane, making sure she's taken care of.
There you go. Good thing. Well, JD, we're out of time. I appreciate it that you always give us a nice little 50-cent tour around the Cross W in a digital kind of way. And we always find, you know, God talks to us through all kinds of things, including a dead fungus-infected pecan tree, you know. But
yes, sir. There you go.
But folks, look around you. God.
And I promise, Coach, next week we're going to talk cows again.
We're going to have cows. All right. Well, we'll do the cows next week, JD. Get you a little bit of rest. Good to have you in the chat room with us tonight. Great to have you on the team, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for coming. I'll catch you in the chat room in a few minutes.
All righty. Well, folks, there's your 50 cents worth around the Cross W with JD Wininger, who appears on pjnet.tv every Thursday evening, 9:30 Eastern Time. Folks, a lot going on. I won't take a lot of time sharing with you. Some of you are taking me up on my offer. If you want to get a little training on how to make your life easier and how to learn how to be a part of the pjnet.tv team, we're getting stronger. I don't know if you've noticed, but the videos that are out there from today, from last night and today, are doing very well. Some of them doing significantly better than we're used to, and I have to think that has something to do with you, because it does. Appreciate all of you. Tomorrow night is a special night. Hazards 4 is your host. I get to kind of take the night off, and he'll be playing some tunes. He actually starts at 9 o'clock, but at 10 o'clock he will have my perspective and comments. Folks, that's one of, if you hadn't been able to keep up with everything and want to get it from the right point of view, he does pretty darn good. I enjoy it. It helps me. Folks, it's been a great night. I really appreciate it. Hey, Ben, good to see you. Connie, good to see you. Donna's here. Doug is here. Steve's here. JD's here. Lori's here. Rachel's here. Sunbelt Girl. Barbara. Tammy from Georgia. And Terry Palmer. Good to have each one of you. You're what make pjnet.tv very special, and I appreciate you. Now, I got to get out of here and start editing some of these videos to get some highlights out there, and we'll get them on that RSS feed for you all to pile on. But before I do that, I got to ask you a couple of questions. You don't have to answer me, but I hope you'll ask yourself these questions. First, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And if you're kind of happy with that answer, maybe the second one will help you. How long ago was that? It is my hope that none of us are ever satisfied with either answer.